What is good? I mean, what is really good, my people? It is UK. Trying to with Dr.Blick, the darkest man around. And today, guys, I am here with Dr.Love 307. Say hi to the people, man.
What up, nigglets?
And today, we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ, or how some people like to call it, FighterZ. Like, is it FighterZ or FighterZ? Because people keep, like, I see people say either one. Like, what is the actual official name? FighterZ or FighterZ? Like,
honestly, I don't even. I call it Fighters because that's what I assumed it was. It looks like Fighters, but FighterZ, to me, FighterZ sounds stupid. I've heard people say the other way around, but I like how it sounds with Fighters because it's like the Z because Dragon Ball Z, but Fighters instead of like fight. I don't know. I think it's Fighters.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna keep calling it FighterZ until it actually gets confirmed as something else, because I feel like FighterZ is a better name and FighterZ sounds freaking stupid. Yeah. Well, anyways, we are gonna be talking about what this game needs to do in terms of it being successful. Obviously, we know that in terms of hype, it's already there. A lot of people are hyped, a lot of people are excited. I saw Rhyme Styles' video with Afro Central and Indakuba, and they were saying in that video that this game 20% is already better than the whole of Xenoverse 2. They might be overhyped, I don't know, but this game does look really good, and in terms of what they're trying to do with it, is really interesting. But okay, Dr.Love, is there anything particular that this game needs to do to be successful, or is it like the character roster, beam struggles, yada yada yada? Are those stuff important for this game to be successful?
Honestly, I don't think those things are as important to this particular game, because like it is a Dragon Ball Z game at the end of the day, but at the same time it's a fighting game first. And they've kind of stated that really at the they stated that it's a 50-50 that they're trying to go with this, but like in terms of it being a game, like it's hard to say, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But this game, the main absolute thing that this game needs to have, because it's a legit fighting game, is really good online. Like really good online, because fighting games, there's no game that's worse with having lag than a fighting game. Like playing a fighting game with lag is literally the worst thing ever. So this game having good online, like, you know, a lot of fighting games have good online, and the thing that happens a lot of the time, like especially with nowadays games, not just fighting games but just generally games with online, is like the first like few days or so the game's out, it has like the worst online ever, and then they update like a patch or something to fix it. But as long as the game has good online, that's really good, to be honest, because the replay value from fighting game, you know, people, since this is catering to them, they just play the game online most of the time, whether it's player matches with their friends or in lobbies with endless battles, or if they go on ranked match. So they're probably going to be doing that like 90% of the time they're even playing the friggin' game. So obviously that has to be good, because if it's not good, then, you know, why would you know, what else are you going to do on it? And I personally don't. Okay, before I go into other stuff, what do you think is the main, like, major thing the game needs to hit for it to be successful?
Okay, it needs to hit like these two things. Like you said, online is important, because this game's going to be heavily played online. Like, you got to have good online connection. Even though we know day one the online connection is not going to be great, we know this already, because it's a Dragon Ball game. When was the last time a Dragon Ball games actually had solid online? Right. I don't recall one having solid online. We've had close, like, online being playable, but not necessarily solid online. We haven't had solid online in a Dragon Ball game. Like, there have been games that had okay line, but we haven't had amazingly, like, top-notch online. But this game is gonna need to have it. And another thing is that, okay, we know that this game is going to have less characters. So when it comes to picking the right characters, they need to do that. They need to pick the right characters. They need to pick a good balance of characters that people want, a good balance of joke characters, because you, like, fighting games have joke characters, and a good balance of female characters. Like, if you have those balance within one, then it's gonna be looking good. But either way, the community's gonna complain. No one's gonna be happy, because we're most likely gonna get 30 to 25 to 30 characters, or even around, yeah, it's around about that much. I can't really see it having more than 30. But saying that, getting the character roster, or the selection of characters that they pick, is really important. And like, me and Dr.Love made a video on that, on characters that we could see be in the game. So it's kind of iffy, because there's a limited amount of characters, but also they've got to get the popular ones and get the right balance. So yeah, what do you think about them nailing down the selection of characters they pick in the game? Do you think that's important, or is not much of a big deal to you?
I do think it's important, but at the same time, I feel like the community is going to feel some type of way either way. I know the fighting game community people are probably going to be like, you know, okay, good, you gave us the good roster, now let's play the game. but the people in the Dragon Ball community, for like, let's say example Boo, right? We already know Fat Boo's gonna be in the game, but what about Super Boo and Kid Boo? What if they add Kid Boo but not Super Boo? You know people are gonna flip. Or what if they add Super Boo but not Kid Boo? What if they add Boo Han but not Super Boo? What if they add Super Boo but not Boo Han? It's stuff like that that's gonna make the Dragon Ball community itself flip. So I already know that's gonna be I mean, but at the same time though, like the people from the Dragon Ball community that are gonna be playing this game is nowhere near the amount of people from the fighting game community that's gonna be playing it. So either way they do it, in the long run they'll be satisfied. But I mean, I already know people are gonna complain about it in the very beginning, but honestly, the only type of people that I can say are guaranteed, like, you know, I'm pretty sure Hercule's gonna be, he might be in the game, but like as a joke character, he might be like the Dan of this game, Dan from Street Fighter, or like freaking Android 18 for the females, because because it was a good point that you said with good female characters, but honestly, I think 18 is probably gonna be the only one that makes it, because I'd be very surprised if Chi-Chi would make it. I highly doubt it. But
Videl. Oh,
Videl, I forgot about Videl. Videl in 18, because there's not a lot of other, like, oh no wait, Dragon Ball Super could fix that issue. Never mind, Dragon Ball Super could fix that because they have other female fighters from Super, specifically the Saiyans. But besides that, like from Z, besides 18 and Videl, it's like there's no one that's really...
and Pan as well.
Well, yeah, but then they would have to make it like a GT Pan though, and we don't even know if GT's gonna be in the game. But like if they did, it would have to be the GT Pan, you know?
Yeah, like they're in a rut where it's gonna be like the community is gonna be upset either way. Like you said, people are gonna say, why did they put Hercule in the game when they could have put this guy? Why did they put this guy in the game when they couldn't put this guy? Like, why did they do that? They're gonna be complaining either way. That's the funny thing about the whole situation. They're gonna be complaining either way. And another thing that I was going to say was that like people complain about characters like Super Gogeta or characters that hardly are in Dragon Ball games not being in games like Xenoverse. So expecting them in this game, like no one's gonna really be happy. Like I see people on Twitter complaining, saying it's first a Dragon Ball game for the fans rather than it's for the fighting game community, when in reality it's the other way around.
It's literally the other way around.
But
by the way, I just want to throw this in there. I don't think Gogeta's gonna be in the game. I think Vegito will, but I don't know about Gogeta.
Yeah,
he could be, but
I don't think Gogeta will be in the game. If he's in the game, it will be very surprising. But yeah, you got anything else to say like about like this, or we can move on to something else?
We can move on to the next one because the roster, yeah.
Okay, so the next one I was gonna bring up, I don't want to know your opinion on this, is beam struggles. I've been seeing people on Twitter saying this game's looking good, but it needs beam struggles. Dude. And when was the last time we had a 2D Dragon Ball game that did not have beam struggles? But wait, let me do
Infinite World.
Yeah, Infinite World. Yeah. So do you think beam struggles is gonna be in the game? Do you think we need it?
No, I don't think it's gonna be there, and I don't think we need it either. Because this game is like super competitive Dragon Ball Z game. Like honestly, beam struggles, like they look really cool and they're really intense, but this is the thing about it, and I really want people to watch this part of the video because I'm about to say something that no one has said before, and I feel like it really needs to be said. You remember how people would complain about Dragon Rush because they were like, oh, well, Dragon Rush, the game kind of does it for you, and you take a butt ton of damage for not even really playing the game. It's just that you, like, because it's like the animations and stuff, right? It's the same exact thing for beam struggles. Beam struggles, the only, you could take up to like a whole entire bar of health gone in a Dragon Ball Z game from a beam struggle just because you didn't roll the stick fast enough, or because you didn't mash a certain button as fast as the person next to you. Like, I don't think that should, I like beam struggles. This is coming from someone who actually likes beam struggles. They're freaking dope. But for a game like this, especially if it's going to be going to Evo and stuff, you don't need those, because it's like, you know, someone could have lost the match, but they could have actually won it if the game didn't have beam struggles, or if the game did have beam struggles, and he lost just because he didn't, you know, press a button as fast as the person next to him. Was like, that's kind of dumb for the competitive scene. I mean, they could have done a thing where like you could turn it off or on or whatever, something like that could have been cool, but if you're really complaining about the beam struggles, it's like, dude, play like one of the early versions of Hyper Dragon Ball Z. It's a 2D Dragon Ball Z game with beam struggles. Actually, matter of fact, the reason they took beam struggles out of Hyper Dragon Ball Z was because it caused bugs. But yeah.
Okay. When it comes to my thoughts on beam struggles, I would like to see it. I would generally like to see it. If it's not there, it's not really a big deal to me, but I would generally like to see it because I'm a big fan of beam struggles.
Because they look cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. They do look cool. But when it comes to my standpoint on will it hinder the game, it all depends on the player, because some people would just try and catch you in the beam struggle because they're confident that they can win the beam struggle. But in reality, if you don't really want a beam struggle to happen, you could really block, you could try and dodge, you can do whatever. But it all depends on how the person plays. But I do like the idea of having the option to turn it on and off. That'll be good for people that don't want to encounter beam struggles at all.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I would like to see it, especially with the visuals that we have already. That would be cool. And also with beam struggles, it kind of makes the fights more intense than it actually is. So having beam struggles would be cool. I would like it a lot. And yeah, like I would be a big fan of us having beam struggles. So another thing I would like to ask you is that, do you feel like alternative costumes and alternative or like transformations for multiple characters are important, or they can just skip forms, like let's say for example base form Goku? Because I know if base form of Goku ain't on the game, people are gonna complain, and people are gonna complain that they're skipping out variational characters not having certain costumes. The story mode is not gonna be fully fully cinematic cutscenes as much as they would like it to be. Like, what's your standpoints on that?
Honestly, the whole alternate it depends on who the character is and which ones are and aren't in the game. Because like my favorite version of Goku to use in a lot of the games is his base form, which is weird to say, but it's like if his base form isn't in the game, it's not like you're using a different character. You're still using Goku. It's just that he's a Super Saiyan instead of being in the base form. Like, wouldn't you? I personally don't think it's that big a deal with that type of stuff. Same thing with like Teen Gohan, for example. It's like, oh, base form and Super Saiyan aren't in the game. So what? You're gonna use Super Saiyan 2 anyway. Same thing if you choose Goku, you're probably gonna use him just to transform into a Super Saiyan. Like, you might as well just use him as a Super Saiyan, you know. I think Vegeta's Super Vegeta in the game, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. Like, out of all the forms, they chose Super Vegeta. I mean, Super Vegeta looks cool, but it's like, it's just, I wouldn't have guessed that they would have done that. But you know, like Scouter Vegeta and those type of guys, like, I mean, they're cool and it would be nice to have them, but you know, you don't really need them, especially for a game like this, even though it's weird to say that. But I don't know. But in terms of like in terms of the story mode, I don't know, because I honestly haven't played a story mode from one of their type of games in like a while, so I don't even remember exactly how they go. But I don't like I don't know. I can't really answer that one because it's been a minute, but yeah.
Okay. Me, when it comes to story mode, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at all. Like, if you're upset about how the story mode is most likely gonna be, then like I don't know what to say to you, because like when it comes to fighting games, the story mode is just a feature that just happens to be there. Yeah. The only time you actually look like they put effort in the story mode was Tekken 7. Like, they legit like worked hard on that story mode. But with other fighting games, like, it's not really that much of a big deal. It wasn't even a big deal for Street Fighter, to the point that they brought out the game without the story mode being there.
yeah, legit. Like, actually, Street Fighter 5 is the only Street Fighter game with a story mode.
Like, exactly. Like, saying that shows how much it doesn't really matter. Having it would be a bonus because it gives you more to do when you're playing offline, but when it comes to fighting games, it's more so heavily online. And it being competitive is what makes people keep playing these games for a long time. Xenoverse dies down because it's broken. People get annoyed. People try to make it competitive, but it's just not competitive, right? When you try and make games, let's say, what you're gonna say.
I was just gonna add in real quick. Also, with these type of games, you already have everyone unlocked from the very second you start up the game, so you don't even have to go through the story mode to unlock people. You can get like other costumes and accessories and stuff, but if you're just looking to play the game, you don't even need the story mode. Like, it's what Blick said. It's an extra thing you can do if you feel like it. But yeah, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like, when it comes to like the story mode and stuff like that, like, it's not really a big deal because like these games are not really made for that. It's made for you to actually be competitive and actually go online and actually have intense battles. Whereas with Xenoverse, it's more so casual. Trying to make that game competitive is not going to work because of the fundamentals of the game and how the game isn't balanced and all that junk. Like, you guys most likely have played Xenoverse. You guys know the gist of the issues that Xenoverse has. Yep. And the hit detection. Thinking about that is actually giving me horrible flashbacks.
Right.
But as a whole, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think anyone should complain about it. And when it comes to the game being too hard, I just want to add this. I just want this to be the last one. When it comes to the game being too hard, based on the people that played the game, there are some combo friendly stuff like that literally doesn't take as much effort as as other fighting games do, and that is because they want to cater to some Dragon Ball fans that actually would find this game too hard. But it doesn't matter, because the fact that it's competitive, the fact that they've structured this game in a fighting game way, even if you do know those easy friendly combos, it doesn't mean you can pull it off on someone. But what's your thoughts about like what I've just said about like the difficulty of the game? And yeah,
wait, I like zoned out for a second. Like difficulty for like how the game isn't like super hard to pick up.
Yeah, like it's hard to pick up in a sense, but there are some easy combos like that people can literally just like do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like if you play fighters like a lot, this game is gonna be super easy. Like it's gonna be really, really easy actually. But if you don't really play fighters like that, it'll take a little to pick up. But to give yourself like 30 minutes tops and you'll get it. I guarantee it. But it's honestly what a lot of people don't get is that the game being hard to play doesn't mean the game. That's not what they want from people with a lot of fighting games. There are some that are like that, but they want the game just to be hard to master and take time to learn. That's what their goal usually is. Because like let's say Marvel vs. Capcom, generally, for example, Marvel vs. Capcom, you can pick up the game, like especially if you play other fighters, but even without it, you can pick up the game and kind of like get used to the gist of it within like, you know, 20-25 minutes of playing it. But learning each character, learning what connects with what and how the players work individually, that's where the actual skill comes with that game. Same thing with Guilty Gear, same thing with like Tekken to an extent. Even though that one you have to do like a bunch of angles and directions and stuff with like the combos, it's still like, it's a 4-button fighter, you know. So it's like a lot of these games, not Hyper Dragon Ball Z, even that game's like actually pretty easy to pick up, but actually learning how to do things correctly and go through the game while being good at it is where the actual skill comes in. So everyone that's, you know, worried about the game being super easy to pick up, don't really worry about it. It's just it's a game, it's a fighter. Like honestly, a lot of them are super easy to pick up, well, when you really get used to it. But I think they did that on purpose because they also want this game to be like a gateway for other Dragon Ball specific, like people that only play Dragon Ball games. It's like a gateway for them to get into other fighters as well.
Oh yeah, there's one other thing I wanna mention out there real quick. This doesn't really tailor to the video, but say if there's anyone in the comment section below saying, okay, how do I get good at this game? Like what is the advice you would give them to actually get themselves prepared for this game? Is there any game recommendations that you could just put out there for them?
I would say like the latest, specifically the latest Guilty Gear. Make sure you buy the latest one because they do update their games, or if you get an older one, it's not gonna work out so well. Play the newest Guilty Gear, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to get used to like the tagging system, and then play Skullgirls, that's also a good one, and Hyper Dragon Ball Z. I would recommend all of those ones.
Okay, that's cool. That's pretty much the video, guys. We were just giving our overall thoughts about what this game needs to do to be successful. But overall, you can tell by the hype and excitement for this game that we have that this game is most likely going to be a big part of our channels for the most part in terms of going forward. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You got anything else to add, Dr. Love, or that's it?
Right.
I said you got anything else to add?
Oh, my bad. I zoned out for a second. My bad. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
Anyways, make sure you check out Dr. Love's channel. The link will be in the description below, along with all my social media stuff, which I advise you to follow me on Twitter and all that other stuff that's in the description. And yeah, let me just wrap up this video. So, please comment and subscribe. I know I say this all the time, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, please leave a like, rating, and enjoy this video. And yeah, this UK Dr.Love will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Yeah.